Hi guys, today I'd like to share with you Psalm 139. In fact, just the first 6 verses of the Psalm. The entire Psalm is excellent and worth great study. But I'd like to share these first 6 verses as well as a couple of verses that complement it from Isaiah 46 and Isaiah 14. But let me read these first 6 verses of Psalm 139. This is entitled, "For the Chief Musician, a Psalm of David." O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You have hedged me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain it. Now this psalm begins with this idea, or this proclamation that you have searched me and known me. It begins and ends with this idea. I think that's the main focus of this. It's an expression of faith. David is saying, Lord, you know everything about me. You can see to the inwardmost parts of my heart. And he's actually calling God to examine him, which is kind of a scary thought in and of itself. But he is a great man of faith, a man of great faith. And he has a wonderful relationship with the Lord, one which I covet. I would like to have that kind of a relationship with God. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. What does he know? What does God know about me? What does God know about David? Well, he said he knows my sitting down and my rising up. It's like whenever he is sitting down and resting, whenever he's up doing things, God sees that. He says he understands my thoughts far off. He comprehends my path and my lying down. When I'm walking somewhere, going somewhere, or when I'm staying put, God sees that, and he just wraps it all up. You are acquainted with all my ways, all of it. There is not a word on my tongue, he says, but behold, you know it altogether. Altogether. You know it all. You have hedged me behind and before. In other words, God is all around David. David knows that God is everywhere around. In fact, he may have created what's all around. Spatially, physically, in every way, God is there. You've laid your hand upon me. Everything that David is, everything David thinks, God's hand is in that. God is there. And he just wraps this up. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. Too wonderful. He says it is high. I cannot attain this. This is too much for me to think about. God is everywhere and in everything, and you just know me so intimately. Well, think about these complementary verses. Isaiah 46, verses 9 through 11. Isaiah wrote here, "Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done." God's decrees. God speaks things and he declares things that are going to come to pass. Things, he says, from ancient times, things that have not yet been done. And what are these things? They have to do with God's counsel and doing his pleasure. He says, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. Calling a bird of prey from the east, the man who executes my counsel from a far country. He's using men to do his will, to execute his counsel, execute what has already been decreed. He says, indeed, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. As I've purposed it, I will also do it. God purposes, He decrees, and it happens. And one more, Isaiah 14, verses 24 through 27. The Lord of hosts has sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so it shall come to pass. As I have purposed, so it shall stand. That I will break the Assyrian in my land, and on my mountains tread him underfoot. Then his yoke shall be removed from them, and his burden removed from their shoulders. The Assyrians had the Israelites under oppression. God says, I'm taking that yoke off. This is the purpose that is purposed against the whole earth. And this is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For the Lord of hosts has purposed, and who will annul it? His hand is stretched out, and who will turn it back? David is speaking his words of faith, saying, Lord, you have searched me and known me, and you are with me. He says, you've laid your hand upon me.